You're sitting there right now, scrolling like civilization is guaranteed, like the wall outlet is a law of physics. Then the lights flicker, the Wi-Fi dies, and your brain does that stupid little panic sprint. But let me ask you something you've been avoiding like an overdue bill. What's your plan when the normal world takes a lunch break and doesn't come back on schedule? Because 99% of people have a plan that starts and ends with, someone will fix it. Today I'm going to show you survival hacks using junk you already own, because the most dangerous lie is that you need a shopping cart to stay alive. Forget the movie montage where you gear up in 5 minutes and look cool doing it. Reality is uglier, cheaper, and way more effective if you know what to grab. And if you want to be part of the tiny minority that doesn't freeze, thirst, or fold when things get stupid, hit subscribe right now. Drop a comment with the most useless item in your house, and I'll tell you what it's actually good for. Welcome to the informed few. First reality check. You don't run out of food first, you run out of water first. You can be brave and hungry for weeks, but thirsty makes you dumb in hours, and dumb gets you hurt. So the first hack is turning gross water into less likely to wreck you. Water problems come in layers, and if you treat them like one thing, you're gambling with your guts. Dirt is one layer, chemicals can be another, and microbes are the invisible roulette wheel. The move is to clean it in stages, not pray it's fine. Stage 1 is the lazy filter, cloth. A clean t-shirt, a bandana, even a sock you're not emotionally attached to gets the big particles out. And big particles are what protect the smaller nasties. Pour slow, let gravity work, and don't squeeze the filth back through like an amateur. Stage 2 is the trash bottle becomes a tool moment. Cut the bottom off a plastic bottle, flip it, and build layers. Cloth at the neck, then crushed charcoal, then sand, then small gravel, then bigger gravel. It's not magic, it's surface area and flow control, and it buys you clarity before the real disinfection step. And yes, charcoal matters, but not the briquettes soaked in mystery chemicals. Think aquarium charcoal, activated carbon from a pitcher filter, or clean charcoal from a wood fire that's been crushed and rinsed. Carbon is a sponge for weird tastes and some compounds, not a force field against everything. Now the part people mess up. Clear water isn't safe water. If you can boil, boil, because heat is the one language microbes actually understand. Bring it to a rolling boil, keep it there, and let it cool covered so you don't recontaminate it with your genius hands. If you can't boil, you disinfect, and you do it like an adult reading labels instead of vibes. Use plain, unscented household bleach with sodium hypochlorite, and for emergency dosing, the guideline is about 2 drops per liter of clear water, then wait. If the water is cloudy or very cold, you use more, because nature doesn't care about your confidence. And if you're out in sunlight with clear plastic bottles, there's the low-tech solar option. Fill a clear PET bottle with clear water, shake it to oxygenate, and leave it in strong sun for hours so UV can do some of the heavy lifting. It's slow, but in a no-fuel situation, slow beats nothing. Now let's talk collection, because purification is pointless if you're not catching anything. Trash bags and clean bins turn into rain catchers fast. Open the bag wide, slope it, channel into a container, and cover the container afterward. The hack is not collecting water, it's keeping it from becoming a mosquito nightclub. Once you have water, storage becomes the quiet killer. Don't store in mystery containers that used chemicals, and don't store open like you're inviting every dust particle to a party. Label, date, rotate, and keep it cool and dark, because your future self deserves less chaos than your current self. Okay, fire. You don't need fire to look rugged, you need fire to sterilize water, cook, dry, and keep your fingers working. Cold hands make bad decisions, and bad decisions are how you end up as someone else's cautionary tale. The first fire hack is admitting your Tinder pile is usually garbage. Dryer lint is basically a flammable confession letter, and it lights fast if it's dry. Pair it with a paper towel tube, a pill bottle, or a zip bag, and suddenly your laundry becomes a survival resource. Now, upgrade it. Cotton balls plus petroleum jelly. The jelly slows the burn and protects the fibers, so you get minutes instead of seconds, which is the difference between fire and frustration. Make a batch now, stash them in an old mint tin, and you've got a pocket-sized I don't freeze today plan. You can also weaponize the dumbest stuff in your junk drawer. A crayon burns like a tiny candle, and tortilla chips or corn chips catch fast and burn hot enough to start kindling. You're not eating like a king in a crisis, so stop treating snacks like sacred objects. Here's the spark trick that feels like cheating. Steel wool and a 9-volt battery. Touch the battery terminals to the wool and it glows fast because thin metal strands heat up with current like a tiny toaster. It's simple physics and it turns dead electronics drawer into ignition. Don't be the genius who burns down the one shelter you have. Clear the area, have water nearby, and don't do this on your couch unless you want a lesson in consequences. Controlled fire is a tool. Uncontrolled fire is a lottery you will lose. If you've got candles, you've got time. A single candle can dry damp kindling, give you light, and start other tinder without you torching half your supplies. People laugh at candles until the batteries die, and suddenly wax feels like gold. Now let's make heat behave, because flame without strategy is just wasted calories. Aluminum foil becomes a reflector behind a small flame, bouncing radiant heat forward instead of into a wall. You're not making more heat, you're aiming the heat you already paid for. And if you're stuck cooking with minimal fuel, insulation is the cheat code. Wrap a pot in towels, a hoodie, or even bubble wrap after bringing it to a boil, and let it finish cooking in its own retained heat. This is how you save fuel without eating cold regret. Want the sun to do work while you do literally anything else? A cardboard box, aluminum foil, and clear plastic wrap become a rough solar oven. Foil focuses light, plastic traps heat, and dark cookware absorbs it. It's slow, but it's silent and it doesn't drink your propane. Even your car is a heat tool if you think like a scavenger. A black bottle of water on a dashboard warms faster than you expect, and warm water makes hygiene and morale easier. Just don't turn your car into an idling shrine that advertises resources here. Now the dark part, night changes people. When the lights go out, you'll hear every creak and your brain will audition horror scenarios for fun. Light isn't just vision, it's control over your own panic. Hack the water bottle lantern. Strap your flashlight to a clear bottle filled with water, or hang a glow stick behind it, and it diffuses light like a cheap lamp. Your eyes relax, your hands work better, and you stop tripping over the same chair like it's an enemy. Headlamps are great, but if you don't have one, improvise. An elastic band, a bandana, or even a cut strip of t-shirt turns a flashlight into hands-free light. 2 hands on a task beats 1 hand, and a mouth full of flashlight like you're camping in 1893. And if you have those cheap solar garden lights outside, congratulations, you already own rechargeable lighting. Pull them in at dusk, set them around your space, and keep your main flashlight as a tool, not a nightlight. Free photons are the best kind. Power is a discipline, not a purchase. Put your phone in airplane mode, dim the screen, close apps, and treat battery percentage like a food ration. People burn 60% battery doom scrolling and then wonder why they can't call anyone when it matters. Your car can charge your gear, but do it smart. Use a 12-volt adapter or inverter, charge what you must, and never run it in a closed space because carbon monoxide doesn't care about your just for a minute. The hack is using power without creating a new emergency. And while we're here, old school matters. Keep a battery-powered radio if you have one. Keep spare batteries in a cool place, and tape a note to the device telling future you where the batteries are. Under stress, your memory turns into a liar. Let's talk shelter inside a home, because people die of cold in houses all the time. When power fails, your entire building becomes a heat leak, and you can't afford to heat every cubic foot of it. The move is to pick one room and turn it into a warm box. Trash bags are more than trash bags. A contractor bag becomes a poncho, a wind block, and most important, a vapor barrier that keeps your body heat from evaporating away. Wind plus moisture equals good night, so block both. If you have to sleep cold, insulation is your religion. Stuff a contractor bag with dry leaves, crumpled paper, or spare clothes, and you've made a crude insulating layer under you or around you. The ground steals heat faster than the air, and most people forget the ground exists. Cardboard is the quiet MVP of heat retention. Lay it under sleeping bags, stack it against walls, and use it as a wind baffle where drafts hit. It's ugly, but so is hypothermia, and I know which one I'm choosing. Bubble wrap on windows is another looks dumb, works great move. Tape it to the glass and you trap air, which slows heat transfer like a cheap double pane. If you've got painter's tape, even better, because you won't hate yourself later. Mylar emergency blankets reflect radiant heat, which is great, until you sweat and soak your layers. Use it as a reflector behind you, or as an outer shell with ventilation, not as a sweaty burrito you regret at 3 a.m. Survival is always trade-offs, not miracles. Stop drafts like your life depends on it, because sometimes it does. Roll a towel, stuff it at the door gap, tape plastic over leaky windows, and close off unused rooms. You're building a heat perimeter like it's tactical, because it is. Now the candle heater myth. One candle does not heat a room, and stacking pots over it doesn't create energy from vibes. It just changes where the heat goes and can increase fire risk. Use candles for light and small localized comfort, not as a fake furnace that gets you on the news. Thermal mass is the grown-up version of comfort. Water jugs, big pots, even a bathtub filled before the outage. These store heat and slow temperature swings in a room. It's not glamorous, but stability is the difference between sleeping and shivering all night. Your sleep system is a system, not a blanket. Wear a hat, keep socks dry, loosen your layers so blood flows, and put tomorrow's clothes near you so you're not dressing in ice. The hack is planning for the moment you wake up cold and stupid. And if you need a quick barrier shelter, bed sheets and duct tape can make a micro room. Hang a sheet to reduce open air volume, tape it tight, and you've created a smaller space your body heat can actually affect. You're not trapped, you're optimizing. Food. People obsess over apocalypse meals like it's a cooking show, but survival eating is just fuel management. Calories, hydration, and digestion, because if you wreck your stomach, you just made your own problem worse. Start by inventorying what you already have. Run the numbers and get ruthless. Peanut butter, nuts, oils, rice, pasta, high calories per ounce, long shelf life, low drama. The hack is prioritizing dense foods early so you don't burn through your easy calories and end up eating sad crackers for a week. No-cook food buys you time and preserves fuel. Oats soaked in water, canned beans, canned fish, shelf-stable milk, even instant noodles cold-soaked if you have to. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're trying to not pass out. Fresh food is a morale weapon, and you can grow it without a garden. Lentils or mung beans in a jar, rinsed twice a day, become crunchy sprouts in a few days. It's vitamins with almost no equipment, and it makes you feel human again. Cooking fuel is the real bottleneck, so steal back efficiency. Bring food to a boil, then insulate the pot in towels and let it finish with retained heat like a poor man's slow cooker. Less fuel burned means more days you can eat hot. If you have a pressure cooker, you're sitting on a fuel-saving machine and you probably forgot it exists. Pressure raises boiling temperature, cooking faster and killing more microbes in the process. In a grid-down moment, faster cooking is fewer resources spent. Salt, sugar, vinegar, these aren't just flavor, they're function. They preserve, they make bland food edible, and they keep you eating when stress kills appetite. The hack is stocking boring staples that turn into survival multipliers. And yes, comfort matters, because you're not a robot. Coffee, tea, spices, even hard candy can keep morale from collapsing, and morale is behavior, and behavior is survival. People underestimate how fast hopelessness burns through a group. Now first aid, and I'm going to be blunt. In a crisis, small injuries become big problems because infection doesn't care about your toughness. You don't need a hospital to do the basics, but you do need cleanliness and calm. Soap and clean water are worth more than a drawer full of gadgets. Absorbent pads aren't just for one job. Sanitary pads can be sterilish dressings in a pinch, layered over a wound and secured with tape or cloth strips. It's not glamorous, but neither is bleeding through your shirt. Duct tape is the unofficial currency of survival. It can secure dressings, prevent blisters, reinforce cracked shoes, and hold splints in place when you don't have fancy wraps. Just don't tape directly onto open wounds like you're auditioning for bad decisions. People love recommending super glue like it's a cure-all, and this is where I slow you down. Some medical adhesives exist for a reason, and your hardware store glue isn't sterile and isn't meant for deep wounds. If you're dealing with anything serious, you need real medical care, not internet courage. But you can still do smart cleaning. If you can boil water and let it cool, a little salt in it can make a basic rinse for cleaning. And it's better than nothing when you're managing dirt and grime. The goal is reducing risk, not pretending you're immune. Dental floss is not for playing doctor, but it is for repairs. Sewing a torn strap, fixing a backpack, tying gear, even making a sturdy line for hanging things, floss is strong, compact, and everywhere. Survival is often just stuff staying attached. Hygiene is where outbreaks start. And outbreaks are the kind of drama nobody wants. Make a hand washing station with a jug, poke a tiny hole, control the flow, catch runoff in a bowl, and keep soap right there. You're building routines that keep sickness from snowballing. And if toilets stop working, get civilized fast or get miserable fast. A bucket lined with a trash bag, topped with a little kitty litter, sawdust, or shredded paper, reduces smell and flies. Seal the bag, store it away from living space, and you just prevented a health problem from becoming a crisis. Now, navigation and signaling, because getting lost is the kind of mistake that kills quietly. Your phone is a tool, but only if you planned ahead like an adult. Download offline maps, save local contacts, and write key numbers on paper because batteries aren't loyal. You also need low-tech ways to be seen and found. A compact mirror, a shiny tin lid, even the reflective side of a CD can flash sunlight farther than you think. Add a whistle because yelling is energy you can't waste, and sound carries better than pride. Marking matters when stress scrambles memory. Chalk, painter's tape, a Sharpie. Leave simple symbols you understand for routes, hazards, or meeting points. The hack is making your world legible when your brain is running on fumes. And if you need to flag attention without tech, go loud visually. A bright t-shirt or bandana on a stick, hung high where it moves in wind, is basic but effective. People miss subtle. Don't be subtle. Security time, and I'm keeping it clean. This is about deterrence, early warning, and not advertising. When things get scarce, opportunists don't need to be bad people. They just need to be desperate. Your job is to look like a hard target without starting drama. Start with doors, because doors are the obvious problem. A rubber doorstop, a wedge, even a folded towel shoved tight can buy time and make forced entry louder and harder. Noise is your friend when you need warning. Then build cheap alarms. A string tied to a stack of empty cans, keys, or a metal pan turns movement into noise, and noise turns surprise into response time. Just place it where you won't trigger it every 5 minutes and hate your own plan. Windows are another weak point, and glass is a betrayal waiting to happen. If you have plastic sheeting, packing tape, or even clear trash bags, you can tape an X and a grid to help hold shards together if something breaks. It's not invincible, it's damage control. Your biggest security leak is your mouth. Don't tell everyone what you have, don't post it, don't leave boxes outside screaming new gear, and don't run bright lights all night like a billboard. Operational security is just stop making it easy. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Lone wolf fantasies are cute until you need sleep. The best security is a small circle of neighbors who trade information, share watch, and have a plan for checking in. Community is a force multiplier, and it's the one thing you can't buy online at 2 a.m. None of these hacks make you invincible. They make you functional, and functional is what survives when everyone else is spiraling into panic shopping and bad decisions. The dark truth is you can do everything right and still get unlucky, but you can also do nothing and guarantee failure. So here's your choice. You can keep pretending survival is a product you'll buy later, or you can stand up tonight and build your kit from what you already own. Water filtering materials, fire starters, light solutions, insulation tricks, and a simple home plan. Comment the 3 items you're committing to repurpose first. Subscribe if you're part of the 0.1% who actually acts. And remember, comfort is temporary. Preparation is forever.